Congratulations, you're wasting the best years of your life, and you don't even know it yet. You're in your 20s, which means you're biologically at your peak, culturally disposable, and psychologically convinced you're immortal. It's the perfect storm. But don't worry, there's still time to mess things up even more. Today we're going to explore 3 scientifically backed, time-tested, and culturally reinforced ways to absolutely wreck your 20s. And if you're doing just fine, that's probably the worst sign of all. Step number 1, chase status over skills. Let's be honest, in your 20s, no one really cares who you are. They care what you look like, what you earn, and what you post. So it makes sense that so many guys dive headfirst into chasing status. Fast money, passive income, fantasies, and endless be-your-own-boss mantras shouted by 22-year-olds who just leased a BMW. But here's the reality. According to the University of Illinois Chicago, more and more people in their 20s are facing what's called a quarter-life crisis. A deep emotional struggle tied to identity, career pressure, and the feeling of falling behind. When you're busy curating an image instead of building skills, you set yourself up for this exact kind of collapse. Because you're trying to look successful, not become successful. And it gets worse. Most guys hit their 30s with no real leverage. No rare skills, no portfolio, just a clean Instagram grid and a closet full of depreciating sneakers. Real skills, like programming, sales, design, leadership, take time and patience. They don't trend on TikTok, but they buy you long-term freedom. But hey, who needs freedom when you can get dopamine hits from fake guru reels and finance bros selling $500 courses on how to invest like a millionaire? Bottom line, if you chase status instead of substance, you're not building a life, you're building a performance. And one day, the audience stops clapping. If chasing status can ruin your career, this next move might just sabotage your brain. It doesn't cost money, doesn't need approval, and feels amazing at first. Step number 2, avoid all discomfort like the plague. Just lie down, open your phone, and avoid anything that feels even slightly difficult. You know what's better than working out, reading a book, or facing your fears? Scrolling for hours while lying in bed and telling yourself you are recharging. We've built a culture where comfort is a moral right, and anything that causes tension, such as effort, failure, boredom, is seen as trauma. But here's what neuroscience actually says. The brain forms new connections when you challenge it. Learning a new skill, practicing under pressure, pushing past resistance. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked to motivation, is released not just by rewards, but by the pursuit of challenge. Translation: every time you skip the gym, avoid the difficult conversation, or postpone learning that second language, you teach your brain that growth is unsafe. And let's be honest, it's not self-care, it's Netflix, vapes, 3 a.m. snacks, and a TikTok feed designed to hypnotize you into submission. Bottom line, if you keep avoiding friction, don't be surprised when your 20s feel like a loading screen that never ends. Yeah, at some point, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Are you actually living your life or just reacting to it on autopilot? Most of us aren't making decisions. We're just avoiding pain, choosing the easy route, defaulting to comfort, and hoping things somehow improve. That's not growth, that's stagnation with a Wi-Fi connection. If any part of this video feels like it's calling you out, it probably is. But that's not a bad thing, that's your signal. So, you've skipped building real skills and dodged all forms of discomfort. What's next? Time to construct your personal relationships like a game of drug Jenga. Unstable, unplanned, and destined to collapse. Step number 3, build relationships like a drunk Jenga tower. You'd think we'd invest more time into who we date, sleep with, or try to build a life alongside, but nope. Modern gaming apps have gamified romance, turning it into a slot machine of swipes and dopamine hits. According to Pew Research Center, 63% of men under 30 are single, compared to just 34% of women. Emotional depth? Conflict resolution? Please. These days, relationship skills mean ghost fast, trauma bond faster, and fall in love with someone's Instagram handle. And when something finally feels real, you don't lean in, you freak out. You start pulling away, picking fights, disappearing for days. Why? Because no one ever taught you that intimacy isn't a trap. You've been taught to keep it chill, casual, and non-attached, as if love was a liability and showing feelings meant you lost. But here's the truth, emotional detachment isn't strength. It's self-protection with a price tag, and the cost is real connection. Add to that the fact that young men are less likely to seek therapy, express emotions, or form deep friendships. And what you get is a generation of guys who are emotionally online but spiritually offline. The result? A sea of people drowning in loneliness, clinging to their phones like life rafts, wondering why they still feel empty even with 300 matches. And this kind of emotional disconnection doesn't just kill your love life, it follows you to job interviews, to teams, to leadership roles. If you want to understand why employers are starting to back away from Gen Z, yeah, we dug into that in another video, watch it after this one, check the link in the description. Final thought? If your whole dating life fits in a you up text and a couple fire emojis, you're not looking for love, you're just trying not to feel alone tonight. And bonus round? Step 4. The quietest, deadliest mistake of them all. You've ignored skills, dodged discomfort, ruined your relationships, and now you top it all off by pretending your brain is totally fine while everything inside you is quietly falling apart. For a lot of young men, mental health is the final taboo. You can talk about crypto losses, your gym PRs, even embarrassing Tinder stories, but say, "I'm not okay." Silence. Who needs therapy when you have caffeine, sarcasm, and a long list of things you refuse to talk about? But here is the deal. Ignoring mental health doesn't make you strong, it just makes you quiet. And eventually, it makes you numb. Real masculinity isn't about bottling things up, it's about having the guts to face what's going on inside before it explodes. Bottom line? You can either talk to someone now or scream into a pillow in your 30s and call it coping. Your move. So now, you know the formula, it's simple. Chase status, avoid effort, build chaotic relationships, and never ever admit you're struggling. Follow those 4 steps and you won't just ruin your 20s, you'll sleepwalk through them, only to wake up at 30 wondering where your life went. But here's the twist. You're not stuck, your 20s aren't over, and the story you're in, you're still the one writing it. Start building skills, lean into discomfort, open up in your relationships, and stop acting like your mental health is optional. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be awake. So which step hit you hardest? Be honest, drop it in the comments. Subscribe for more content that hits harder than your last breakup. See you next time.